Hello and welcome to Eastern Horizon. This is Malika Yubsumbul, and we are live on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Uh, Today, the topic that we are going to discuss is about on the rising tension between Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates in the Yemen, following a Saudi-led coalition airstrike on a suspected UAE-linked shipment in the port of the Mukalla. The UAE announced the withdrawal of its remaining forces from Yemen after the Saudi 24-hour ultimatums. This incident represents one of the most significant events in the recent Gulf Cooperation Council history because we saw that the two allies and the two member states of the GCC comes towards in a very hostile behavior. So I have joined by two very senior experts who are a veteran on the Yemen affairs, and I am very pleased that from Amman, Jordan, I have joined by Abdulghani Al-Iryani. He is a senior analyst and a senior researcher on Yemen affairs, and one of the authority who has a very tremendous work on the Yemen affairs. Thank you very much, Abdulghani, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
My second panel is Maysaa Shuja al-Deen. She is a senior researcher at the Sana Center for Strategic Studies Yemen, and she is right now in Egypt. Thank you very much, Maysaa, for joining me. Can you please unmute your mic, Maysaa?
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. So let me directly go to Abdul Ghani. That how you see this recent development? Because we saw that Saudi Arabia and UAE are two member of Gulf states. They are both allies, but what make them different in this hostile behavior in Yemen?
Well, the Yemen file should be the reserve of Saudi Arabia, as it is the country that borders on Yemen. The Emiratis entered ostensibly to assist Saudi Arabia in resolving the Yemen conflict and restoring the Yemeni legitimate government to the capital. But then they took a turn away from that, and for the for the purpose of restoring the old southern state, which had merged with the northern state in unity in 1990. And that made it difficult for the Saudis to deal with them, and it eventually got to a direct clash. But I think that this clash is more likely one phase of the ongoing negotiation between Saudi Arabia and the Emirates on the Emirate role in Yemen. I think that the Emiratis have been disruptive of the Saudi plans in Yemen, and I think it is time for them to withdraw, as they have announced many times over. They will withdraw from Yemen, but they keep causing trouble to the Saudis, especially in this stage, and facing in arming and supporting the Southern Transitional Council, which seeks to secede from Yemen.
So let me go to Maysaa Shuja. Mean that how you see especially this development, and I would like to ask a question because I am also very curiosity about this. That who is who in Yemen? Because we were listening about the Houthis because they were in the headlines, but then we saw that Saudi Arabia and UAE comes head to head, and we saw this Southern Transitional Council. So can you explain that who is who and who is interest are in collision in Yemen? Okay, can
The
you?
war in Yemen started 1 decade ago in 2015. At that time, it was two parties, the Houthis and the internationally recognized government. But because the war become longer and more parties joined, and it's become more complex, so it's not about two parties now. It was about the Houthis and the anti-Houthi camp, which was the international recognized government, become a wide umbrella for many military factions that emerged throughout this one decade of regional intervention. And this government, it was one bloc, the international recognized government, it was one bloc in before 10 years. But even before this crisis, it was like many factions, they are under the government. And this government was divided like 50-50 between the Saudi Arabia and UAE. And there was a tense competition between the two countries, and this tension starts since 2019 when the SCC fought some forces affiliated to Saudi Arabia, and the STC, it was established by the UAE in 2017. So it was, and it held the banner of separation or independence from the south, from the north. This banner is somehow popular in the south. I will not say that this there is a massive majority support it, but there is a kind of popular base, a good popular base that make this banner stands. So, but in 2019, it was the first time there is a fight within the government, and the STC after that took over capital Aden, and there was an agreement in Riyadh between these different factions that make the STC become a party within the government. So after that, the government has become a divided entity, but these divisions is under the umbrella of the international recognized government. And now it seems that the relationship between UAE and Saudi Arabia went out of control, and it's become not only tense competition, it's become open hostility.
Hmm. Uh, Abdul Ghani, how you see that the future scenario? Because UAE apparently they have downplay this incident because Saudi said that they draw a red line on their national sovereignty and national security. So how you see that mean that the future, the collision between the Saudi Arabia and the UAE, is this going to be on some new front, or how it will be unfold in the coming days?
It used to be that the UAE, while working in cross purposes with Saudi Arabia, has always avoided direct confrontation. Usually, it pretends to be cooperating with Saudi Arabia while doing things that are not in the interest of Saudi Arabia secretly. This is the first time since the establishment of the UAE that it confronts Saudi Arabia head on. And I think that the reason the UAE has taken this risk is because they enjoy the support and the encouragement of both Israel and the United States of America. And the reason the Americans are supporting this confrontation is because they want to apply pressure on Saudi Arabia to sign the Abrahamic Accord and normalize relations with Israel. So I think that the Saudis have a wide margin to maneuver. Maybe they are negotiating with the U.S. now to come up to some agreement on the matter of the Abrahamic Accords, and that will, I think, stop the UAE pressure that it applies now on Saudi Arabia.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. So, Maysaa, how you see that this STC mean that how it is optimistic, or how mean that the UAE can leverage on STC that they could dream the establishment of the southern Yemen under the current circumstances? Mean that how you see that things will head?
I have to say that the STC, they don't have any space of independence or autonomy with the UAE in their relationship. The UAE is using the STC and using their partner for their own their own interest. So it is not a normal alliance. It is they are more agents to the UAE more than they are expressing any local or popular desire inside of the south. This, even though they are saying they are fulfilling the determination or the willing of many Southerns who seek or who are looking to an independent state. I'm not optimistic at all because if you see the pattern of the UAE intervention in every country like Libya or Sudan, they used to go to the end and they never negotiated or compromised. They always used military option to the end, even if their forces withdraw. They will withdraw under the pressure of fire, not diplomacy. So I'm not optimistic because this time, if there is any war will erupt in Yemen, it will be more disastrous than the first one in 2015 that has not been ended, actually totally ended, but it will be worse in the sense that the country is already exhausted. The people are already exhausted from a war, from a 1 decade war preceded this next war, hopefully will not happen, but I'm not optimistic in that regard. Also, it will be a bigger regional uh, regional intervention because this is more bigger than conflict between Saudi Arabia and Iran about the influence in the region. It is something bigger. It's about redrawing the map of the region and redesigning the map again in the region and make it passing new facts in the region. It's part of the conflict in Sudan, in Syria, and in Africa. So it's becoming something bigger than it's going to be something bigger than the first one in 2015.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Abdul Ghani, my question is to you that mean that Saudi Arabia, though have the border with Yemen, but the footprints of the UAE mean that what is the geopolitical landscape of UAE that that they could have some sort of the future adventure in Yemen. How you see this, and do you think that any the geographical landscape will allow UAE to have a direct access on ground in Yemen?
The UAE is very efficient, very effective, and it is working very closely with the US on a grand strategy that started just before the Arab Spring to contain Islamic militancy and to reshape the region in terms favorable to the US and their allies. Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, is much bigger, much more important to the US, but it has not used its leverage properly. It has to do with the nature of the regime in Saudi Arabia, which is highly centralized and it's slow to respond. It hasn't developed a complete strategy of dealing with Yemen, and that is one of the reasons the war has been dragging on for 11 years now. And I think that the Saudis can be a match, but more than a match to the UAE and its supporters because it has shared interest in Yemen with Turkey, with Iran, with Egypt, and they can draw on support from the Chinese Russian axis. So, in the in the end of the day, Saudi Arabia can meet and perhaps defeat the UAE efforts at destabilizing the kingdom through its underbelly of Yemen.
Maysaa Shuja al-Deen, that where you see Houthis in all this scenario, what is their future, and how do you think that they have something like because they are a proxy, so how you see their future of the Houthis in Yemen scenario?
Yeah, the Houthis, they have connection with Iran, but I have to say they are more independent than those who work for the Saudi Arabia or UAE. And UAE more than even Saudi Arabia, because he has bigger space to behave independently and to take some decisions independently than Iran. And Iran now is busy with its internal affairs. But the Houthis definitely they are a local actor, a strong local actor, and what is happening now it serves them. It is the best best time for them because it weakened the camp that faced them,
Hmm.
and whatever the results of this conflict, they can benefit or they can gain many things from this conflict. If it will be war, they may interfere as a party. They may expand their territories. They may become aligned with some regional powers that is going to interfere in this war. I have also to mention that there is Turkey, there is Egypt. Definitely, Egypt is very busy also with its internal affairs, and the Sudan front is more important than Yemen. But they are also tense and they are anti the STC and they are closer to Saudi Arabia despite their strong economic relationship with the UAE. We have also Turkey, which Turkey is always nervous from any separation movement in the region, and it is very nervous from this trend in the region, Somaliland, and now south of Yemen. And we have Oman on the borders. Oman is also very tense from the presence of the UAE, and always the relationship between Oman and UAE is always tense, and they are very nervous from the type or the nature of the forces of the UAE, and also the Saudis because it's over dominated by the Salafis. So I think the situation is getting complicated, and the Houthis will find many areas or many gaps that they can fill during this situation.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Abdulghani Al-Iryani. So my question that how you see that in Yemen the escalation between Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and do you think that this escalation will be increased, or do you think that there will be a pause and it could be it could decrease because many experts believe that this is just for instance this has been reduced, but there are risks of future escalation in Yemen. So how you drop it down?
I don't think that the Saudis will escalate militarily because they have so many diplomatic options that they can pursue before they enter into another round of violence that will exhaust them and will cause uh, internal strains, especially with regards to the implementation of the ambitious development plans, Vision 2030. I think they will use their diplomatic tools to the absolute, to the maximum extent to settle this conflict, knowing for sure that the object of this pressure applied by the UAE on Yemen is intended to to extract concessions on the Abrahamic Accords and on the relations with Israel. I think the Saudis should stop talking to the Emiratis and go talk to the US directly. That would be a more effective way of settling this conflict.
So, my question is this: that do you think that there is any apparent threat to the Saudi-backed presidential government right now in Yemen? Do you think that there is any kind of risk to this government from any proxies in Yemen?
You mean that the government? You mean the international recognized government?
Yeah,
I do not.
the government is the Saudi the government that is backed by Saudi Arabia, and I think that is the one of the government of the Mr. Rashidi.
Yeah. This government is already, since it's formed, it is already divided in its affiliations between the Saudi Arabia and the UAE. For example, the highest body in this government, it is what is called the Presidential Leadership Council (PLC). It is 8 members. Presidential Council is headed by Rashad al-Alimi, and these members, they are 4 with the UAE, and they declared their position, and other 4s, the other side is 4 headed by Rashad al-Alimi, is they declared their position. They support the Saudi Arabia. And this was a division even before this crisis, but now we talk about a complete division. I mean, they can't go ahead in this situation with this dividing entity. So I can say that if this entity will be divided officially, if the war erupted, I mean, the Saudis, they may form another kind of government and leadership that is totally related to Saudi Arabia, and the same thing with the Emiratis in Aden. So I think this is going to be the situation, but after the war, if the war erupted, and definitely they threatened, even Rashad Al Alimi, he threatened that the members of the governments who announced their support to the SCC, he's going to dismiss them, but he didn't do this yet. He hasn't done this yet, but I think it will happen at some point in the future.
Abdul Ghani, UAE footprints are expanding. We saw that it's Yemen. We also see that in Libya, and we also heard that in the international headlines we saw that in Sudan also. So, what exactly is UAE want to achieve, and what is their ambitious, especially in the GCC and beyond GCC? What is their scope?
The UAE is a small country surrounded by 2 major powers, regional powers, Saudi Arabia and Iran, and it relies exclusively on US support and the security umbrella of the US to confront the hegemony or possible hegemony by the larger neighbors. And so it has sought for 2 decades now to become useful to the US so as to ensure their continued support and their continued extending their security umbrella over the UAE. As long as they feel threatened, they will continue to play this role as an basically an agent of the US, whether in Yemen, Sudan, Libya, or other parts of the region. And unfortunately, the role has been disruptive, and it's not in the best interest of the UAE in the long term. I think that the way to deal with this is for the GCC to make the necessary adjustment in its structure so that the GCC becomes the guarantor of the independence of the smaller states. The Saudi Arabia can become much more powerful if it can establish good standards of cooperation between it and its smaller neighbors than what it stands now in terms of threats to its security by having that not having that kind of structure.
Hmm, hmm. Maisa, the people of Yemen ultimately they are suffering all this proxy kind of the confrontation. So, how you see mean that the future of the Yemen, especially under the existing circumstances, and then when it comes to the people will, that what is desirable or what is best for the people of the Yemen. So, where you see Yemen standing there, standing right now.
I think there is no power now is interested to express what the people want, or they are not even interested. I mean, the situation now in Yemen, everyone relies on the military power to impose itself on the ground. It's about the geography. It's not about the people. So, for example, Houthis, they present a really bad or poor model of governance, corruption, and oppression. Something similar with the SCC, with the government in general, and with the SCC in particular, by the way. So they are not interested. It doesn't seem that anyone is interested about the people. It's now the dynamics of the situation in Yemen is driven by the force, is driven by the regional powers, and no one is seriously interested by the people, even if they raised some popular banners like the STC and the Houthis in the past. So it is unfortunately it is something that definitely will damage the interests of the people of Yemen who already struggled from this war, and I'm afraid that the misery is getting to be worse in the next conflict. If there is a war, hopefully will not happen, but all the signs. All the signs all the signs show that the war is going to happen in Yemen, unfortunately. So I think if any power inside of Yemen think of the people interest, this situation will not be continued for 10 years, and it may continue also for other years. So yeah, it is a limited scale game for everyone locally if they think about their future inside of Yemen. But since they are driven by some selfish personal impressions, this power. So I think this is going to continue, and it's not going to be anything good for Yemen in the near future. Thank you.
Hmm. Let's hope for the better, and we wish that there should be a peace in Yemen, and the government should be that is according to the people will. I really appreciate Abdulghani Al-Iryani who joined and Maysaa Shuja. I really appreciate your insight on this wonderful broadcast. Thank you very much for joining, and I hope we will join in some other session. That would be my pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.